Hello, home bosses. You've probably heard by now that Amazon KDP is changing how much we earn from print books under $9.99. And understandably, it's caused a bit of a panic in the self-publishing world. In this video, I want to walk you through exactly how I'm handling this change, what I'm doing with my own books, and the type of books I believe we should all be focusing on going forward. This doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, I think it could be a really good opportunity for those of us who are in for the long game. So let me show you what I'm going to do, how I'm going to use this to improve my KDP business, and what you can do to ensure that you use this to better your business too. So here's what's happening. Starting June the 10th, 2025, if your print book is priced under $9.99 in the US or under £7.99 in the UK, your royalty rate will drop from 60% to 50%. That means if your book is priced too low, you might end up earning very little, or in some cases, nothing at all. The good news is Amazon has now released a royalty calculator where you can enter your book's specs and see what your earnings will look like after the change. And I'll leave a link to it underneath this video so you can take a look. And it's super useful for checking which of your books might need a price adjustment. Now let me share what I'm personally doing to adapt. I'm revising my prices so I can continue earning a fair royalty. For simple notebooks, I like to earn at least $1 per sale. And for mid-content books like guided journals, activity books, or planners, I aim for at least $3 or more in royalties. And that has been my standard for a while, and it's worked really well. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unpublish older books that I haven't sold in a long time or that no longer match the quality I want for my brand. Because when I first started publishing, I made a lot of books like everybody does, and they're not the best quality. They're not really what I should have been doing. And this is a chance for me to unpublish some of those. Sometimes we just outgrow certain books, and that's okay. And the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double down on quality over quantity. I'd rather have 10 really strong, well-designed books that continue to sell than 100 rushed ones that don't earn anything. And the other thing I want to talk to you about is prices, all this fear about pricing. I know a lot of people are worried that raising prices will lead to fewer sales. But here's the thing, I don't believe pricing higher loses you sales if your book is valuable. I've always priced my notebooks to earn at least $1 and they still sell very well. And my higher value books earn $3 or more per sale, and those sell too. Of course, I've got books that never sell, like everybody. I think I can say that about 20 to 30% of my books sell and the rest don't. But now and again, a book suddenly starts selling that hasn't sold, and that's why I'm not unpublishing every book that hasn't sold. I'm just going to unpublish the ones that I think are lower quality, that are not up to the standard that I'm used to now. And Amazon shoppers aren't necessarily looking for cheap things. If they wanted a cheap notebook or coloring book, they would grab one at Walmart or at the supermarket, because we all know you can buy books really cheap there. People go to Amazon because they're searching for something specific, a certain niche, a theme, a gift idea. And when they find it, price is not even a factor for that. Price is something they don't really think about if they find the right thing. And if your book is the right fit, it will still sell at $9.99, $11.99, or even at $14.99. So let me show you what I'm going to do with my books. Let's hop onto my bookshelf. So if you go to your bookshelf, you go next to the book that you want to change the price on, and you click on the three dots that you've got here, and you can choose what you want to change in your book. And I'm going to click on Edit Print Book Pricing. So that will go into the pricing of this book. And I'm doing that with all of my notebooks. I do sell quite a lot of notebooks, so don't let anyone tell you that notebooks don't sell. The right type of notebooks do sell. So you have to think of notebooks that are good to give away as a gift or that have a particular theme that people really like. So it is still possible to sell notebooks, but you can't just sell generic notebooks because there's just too many on Amazon. They have to be something special. So once you're in there, you scroll down to the pricing section, and this is where you can make the changes. And what's really helpful is that Amazon have given us a comparison here. So my book is currently priced at $6.99. And as you can see here, the 60% royalty rate is applicable, and I was earning $1.75 from each book sold. So it's definitely a good royalty for a notebook. And when the 50% royalty comes into effect, this will go down to $1.06. And for the UK, it's slightly different. The threshold is $7.99, not $9.99. So any book under $7.99, which this one is, at the moment is earning me 60% royalties, which is £1.54. But when it goes down on the 10th of June and it goes down to 50%, I'll only be earning 95 pence on each book, which isn't a bad thing. So I don't even think you necessarily need to change all of your prices. I could easily just leave it like this. I'm still earning $1 and I'm still earning nearly £1 on this, but I'm going to up it a little bit because of the dollar and pound price difference and the exchange rate and all the rest of it. So I do want to earn a little bit more. So all I have to do now is to increase this price, and I'll show you what I do. I'm going to increase all of my notebooks to $8.99 in the US. So I'm just going to change that to an 8. And now you can see it's calculated that I'm actually going to receive $2.06 once the lower royalty comes into effect. So that's a little bit better. And I'm going to change my UK prices to $6.99. And you can see that it's calculated that as well. And now I'm going to earn £1.45. And I'm happy with that because I'm happy to earn around $1 and around £1 for my notebooks. Other books are different. For my coloring books or for my journals, for any of the other books, even my non-fiction books, I'm going to make them a little bit higher, but not all of them. I don't think it's necessary to change all of the pricing. Have a look at your books. Once you go into the pricing section, see if the royalty that you end up with is okay, because it's only going down from 60% to 50%, which is a 10% difference. And sometimes it's not that bad. It means you're earning a little less. So you have to make a decision whether you want to leave it as it is, if you can live with that, or up your price of the book if you think that your book is good enough to do that. And in my case, I think my books are good enough to raise the prices now, because don't forget we haven't raised our prices for, well, since I started, I think. So I started in 2019, at the end of 2019, which was really, we can say my first year was in 2020. And since then, I haven't raised any of my prices. So I think it's about time that I do raise my prices as everybody else is doing. You also need to bear in mind that this isn't the last time something like this is going to happen, because in this world, things always change. Paper prices might suddenly go up, which Amazon then, of course, passes on to their customers. So whenever there's a rise in paper cost, that will obviously affect the production cost of books, or maybe the printers are raising their prices. Whatever it is, it can happen. And that will mean that we have to keep adjusting our pricing. And Amazon is really quite good about this because in 20 years, this is the first time they have lowered their royalties. If you publish with Ingram Spark or any of the other platforms, Ingram Spark, for example, had a 30% wholesale discount, and that means authors earned higher royalties. That was before 2022. And then in 2022, they implemented a change requiring authors to offer a 40% wholesale discount. So that obviously affected the royalties. And then some authors have reported that Ingram Spark has further increased the required wholesale discount, and that potentially leads to even lower royalty rates for authors. So if you think it's only Amazon that does this, it's not. It's something that a lot of businesses do. So it's just something that you have to bear in mind. And as a business owner, you just need to navigate these things. But it's not even that bad. So of course, if your margins are really narrow, then it's going to impact you more. And this is why I always say, don't price your books too low. It just doesn't make sense. If your book is a good book, it will sell at a higher price. So don't worry too much about this. This is something that you can offset by creating better quality books and by raising your prices a little bit. It's not too bad, I think, in my opinion. So we've raised our price to $6.99 in the UK. So now I'm going to be making £1.45, and I'm going to do the same for the European market. So at the moment, I'm earning €1.31 for the German Amazon, and I'm charging $6.99 for this book. So I'm going to bring it in line with the American market and make this $8.99. I don't sell too many in Europe. I sell a notebook there. So I'm not too worried about this market, quite honestly, but I'm going to change it anyway, as I'm here anyway doing it. I might as well just change all of them. I changed it to €8.99, and now I'm going to earn a royalty of €2.31. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that with the rest of them. And I usually leave the Polish one as it is because I'm not quite sure what the exchange rate is. And like I said, I don't sell a lot of books in the other European markets. So I'm going to leave them as they are. But for Canada, I'm going to increase this to 11 Canadian dollars 99, which will give me a royalty of $4.01. I know that's a lot of money for notebooks, but these are special notebooks. They're really popular, so I feel that it's the correct way to do it. I will let you know if they stop selling, but at the moment they're selling really well, so I feel that I can warrant the price rise. And in Australia, I'm going to add $3 Australian and make it $13.99. And then you just click publish your paperback book, and that will then bring those price changes into effect. And that's what I'm going to do with most of my books, with all the ones that have been affected where I feel that the royalty is too low. But like I said, it's not the case for every book. Some of my books are absolutely fine with the lower royalty. There's not that much of a difference, so I'm going to leave them as they are. So this is how I would do my pricing. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is what kind of books should we be making now? So we should be making books that are worth more, books that feel thoughtful, useful, beautiful, or giftable. Here are a few ideas. We could start making niche notebooks and journals. So for example, notebooks for teachers, for therapists, for students, for pet lovers, gardeners, you name it. There are so many niches that you could make a journal for. And I know there are already some out there, but you just have to make them that much better and that little bit different so that they stand out and that they're not the same as all the other ones out there. You could do that by either creating really great covers or make the interior really interesting for them. And the other thing that we could make is guided journals with prompts, affirmations, or themes like mindfulness, wellness, or self-discovery. Those type of books sell really well, and again, you have to make sure that your covers are really good, that they can compete with the other journals that are out there, and it gives you more value than just a simple notebook. Of course, the other books that we can make that are really good value are activity books, like themed puzzle books, travel journals, or interactive learning books. I think the learning niche is something that is never going to not sell. There are just so many activity books that we can create, and create them in a way that they're really good value for your customers. And there is so much demand for them. I think that those are the kind of books that you could focus on. So think of educational books for children or for teenagers or even adult education. There's a lot of scope in that niche. The other type of book that I'm going to be making a lot more of is gift style books. So you can make illustrated prayer journals, herbal spell books, gratitude logs, or memory books, and they always sell really well. Anything that people can give as a gift is a really good book to sell around Christmas time, and you can sell them around holidays like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Those sort of books, they can be evergreen, but they also sell particularly well during holidays. And the other thing that you can shift towards is mid-content books that solve a problem or enhance someone's life in a small but meaningful way. Even low-content books can feel high value when they're well thought out and visually appealing. But I think the thing to consider is to creating mid-content books, and any of these type of books that I have mentioned can be created so that they're not low-content books. Don't make them repetitive pages. Make each page different, and that way you can create some books that offer a lot of value. I think what's going to be really interesting is what's going to happen with Coco Wyo. If we take them as an example, you know that they built a strong, recognizable brand with bold, creative coloring books, and their prices will also have to go up. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that's going to hurt their sales. Do I think it's going to stop them from selling any books? No, I think that when you build a brand and offer something unique, people will still buy your books because they're not shopping on price alone. They're shopping on connection, on style and value. And I think that's the direction we all should be heading in. So, to sum up, this change isn't the end of self-publishing. It's just a shift. And honestly, I think it's Amazon's way of nudging us away from mass-producing low-value books and towards creating better books. It's time to stop racing to the bottom with pricing and start treating our publishing like a real business, because that's exactly what it is. It is a business. And remember, you don't need to publish dozens of books. You just need to publish the right ones. And I'll be sharing more ideas soon on how to pivot and thrive in this new environment. So make sure you're subscribed and following if you want to stay ahead. And if you've got questions or want to share how you're approaching this change, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.